Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Cheating is back on the menu yet again, with teams finally revealing who they believe might be the chief culprits for the loudness, equalization, abuse in the online environment. Cammy calls out specifically the Boston breach. Others seem to agree this might be the team that's chiefly at fault. They want it banned, but can the CDL actually step in to make it happen? Very much enjoy your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. First of all, just quickly on Gizmo here saying soon, and obviously footage of last season with himself and the London guys on main stage. So whether Gizmo's back to London, I feel like it's about time they get either Gizmo or Harry for sure, from who, well, two players did pretty well for them last season. The AR duo right now, Paulex and Scraps, not really firing where they need to be. Nasty, I think, has been improving. Asim, of course, is always going to be pretty decent up and down, of course, as a player. So Gizmo, Harry, we'll see how it goes, if at all. But you think they've got to do something soon. Now, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room here within the esports scene at the moment. So last night, the Guard, if you guys don't know how the whole Los Angeles Guerrillas thing goes, the Guard is kind of like the parent organization. They've got the Los Angeles Guerrillas, the Los Angeles Gladiators from Overwatch, and the Guard was the, well, branding for their Valorant team and the like. That's all owned by Stan Kroenke, sports and entertainment, owner of Arsenal and other things, and they've been committing a lot of resources to esports over the last couple of years. We know LAG, they've got a lot of money, they've spent a lot of money. The Arcitys buyout, the 3-year deal for him, the 3-year deal for Spartan and elsewhere as well, with the Guard and other, you know, hiring a lot of people, paying a lot of money and salaries and stuff to commit to what seemed to be a pretty long-term vision for what they were trying to do here in esports. And I thought they were doing some great things in many different spaces. However, last night, many of their employees, if not effectively their entire creative staff, media, you're talking like basically everything under the sun, with the exception of probably some of their professional teams, have been laid off entirely. So this is just devastating for so many of these people, especially because, as I know that Carly kind of makes light of it here, but she and others were signed to LA Guerrillas and the Guard as an organization, moved out to LA because they wanted them to be out there in LA where the team is based, and then within a few days, like in some cases, or in a few months in other cases, has now been made redundant and effectively removed from the organization, such that they're now stuck in LA, which is obviously not exactly cheap, with you know, all sorts of difficulty. So this is the thing, I know that a lot of organizations have been making layoffs lately, but there's been the reports from 100 Thieves are generally that 100T tried their best to try and relocate the guys they were moving on, because there's been a lot of cutbacks. It's not just esports, right? It's a global thing at the moment that a lot of organizations are making many cutbacks across the board, and esports is obviously being chiefly affected by this right now, given the state of the economy and the way that esports has been funded the last few years, and a lot of organizations relying heavily on VC money rather than building actual revenue sources, as well, let's say an OpTic or a FaZe or 100 Thieves or Centaurs maybe. Like, these organizations have the model right to a degree, some organizations don't, and unfortunately it's the staffing of some of these organizations that are paying the price as a result. What does this mean for the COD team and honestly the future of the way that LA Guerrillas is going to go? Their team is still going to be there. Like, LAG is a slightly different entity, of course, than the Guard itself, because it's a franchise team, so kind of a different organization under the same umbrella. So, I mean, I imagine they're going to cut back on staffing within LAG. Don't know what's going to happen to their, like, social department, like, over the coming days as well, but the team's still going to be there. I'm guessing the coach in Marky B is still going to be there, but we may see a very different environment. This may be the first, you know, people are saying that Kroenke has burst the esports bubble. That might be a little bit early to say, but nonetheless a rather important day in esports, I think, and I think the repercussions of this are going to continue for some time to come. I believe their Apex Legends roster is gone as well, so you know, that's obviously not good. We don't really know what's happening with Valorant as well at the moment, and also they've got an academy roster right now, right? Spart, DiamondCon, Noisy, Neptune, so what's going to happen there? We really don't know. So yeah, that's the update so far on that situation, but it's a big one because many organizations have made cutbacks in media and creative in these spaces, and it's maybe understandable given the state of things, but to cut like pretty much your entire staff in that department is maybe indicative of what the Guard think about the future of esports could potentially be, and whether LA Guerrillas will even exist in a few months, whether they'll try and sell it on or something if the Guard are actually trying to leave esports in its entirety. Some more positive news, at least in my opinion: the Hemlock has been banned from ranked. We talked about heard it yesterday, one of the key complaints was that the Hemlocker was still around in ranked play. It is now gone officially. I know there was a lot of frustration from some of the casual players on their Reddit about this being banned and all. Infinity Ward only caters to the pros and all this stuff. I'm like, hang on a second, lads. I don't know what you're talking about, but that's officially gone. So I know lots are happy about this, that it's just going to be the Scar and the Vaznev being used in play. And yes, okay, only a 2-weapon meta, but at the end of the day, I think it makes more sense than the Helmlock being in play because arguably it was a bit OP and the pros weren't using it anyway. So what's the point having it in the game if the pros aren't going to play the same game as you're playing in ranked play? Big update as well from Seattle Surge signing Gwyn as their official substitute. So there are some teams making some acquisitions here, and Surge have signed Gwyn. I believe he won one of the Challengers Cups last weekend sometime. Now, not a player that's on the top of the radar for a lot of people. SMG player, definitely a promising SMG player. A lot of the top players, though, are signed to the Academy rosters right now or on some sort of organization already, and therefore Surge aren't going to sign those players. Even Simp confirms here that he's like, you know, this guy mentions, what about iLLeY or Kremp or Real or Mock or Mohawk or whatever, all these players getting signed to organizations, and in fairness, some of them are, and as Simp says, look, a lot of pro teams have those guys locked down already, so we can't sign them unless they're godlike, we're not going to buy them out. So, which hasn't been the case in a while, he says. So, interesting update, I think a bit of a surprising one. And also, as we segue into some of the cheating stuff, I thought this was hilarious last night. So, I imagine this is unintentional from Infinity Ward, or they're just testing this out to actually bring red dots back. But the gun game has been put into the game, and it has the classic minimap with the red dots as a normal Call of Duty activated. So, you know, why are they doing this? I don't know if that was intentional, because of course at the start of the game in the beta, they had the option in custom games to put in red dots. That option is no longer there. They just removed it despite the competitive scene, it feels to me. But now they're bringing it back, and maybe they're looking at sales numbers, they're looking at other factors, the fact that, I don't know, maybe competitive's doing rather well on the Twitch side and all this type of stuff, and they might, okay, this is optimistic thinking that they actually might be thinking about changing the red dots or the dead silence or whatever, but yeah, maybe a little tester here from Infinity Ward, unless of course this was entirely unintentional. I thought this is funny from Clay as well. Can't believe they had another bug through testing. Really got to QA this stuff. Red dots on the minimap in gun game, actually wild. Get those things out of here immediately. We can't be having that. Okay, so let's talk about the drama then. Cammy says the following: wow, that is crazy. And I thought this is a hilarious way to call out a certain team for what a lot of pros consider to be cheating right now, because you can't do it on LAN, it's disabled, but you can probably get away with it online and no one can really check. So this is 10 toughest things to do in life: getting married, parenting, become an entrepreneur, health, and then this one, make a play without dead silence against the Boston Reach. I thought this is a great way to call out a team. I've never really seen anything like this before, but I'll just bring it up on the big screen so you guys can revel in the glory of this incredible content that Cammy put out last night. And a lot of pros found this rather entertaining. SlasheR actually replies and says, playing those guys with a trophy on is hell. So look, you can either run dead silent as the, of course, the field upgrade, or the trophy on, and usually that 2 players run the dead silence, 2 players run the trophy, stuff like that. And a lot of teams nowadays are using the SMGs as their dead silence players, because if you don't online, you are going to get exposed hard. We saw the other day, right, when Exceed clutched that 1v, and it wasn't a 1v3 against OpTic, but it was a 2v3 situation. He got 1 kill, killed Dashy, and then turned around, stunned the last guy and killed him. And I was like, damn, that was really good awareness there from Exceed. The argument is he's got this setting on, can hear the players, and that's why some teams are better online than they are on LAN, we could say. So SlasheR seems to completely agree there with what Cammy is saying, that it's Boston Breach that are the prime culprits. Even Dashy says he finds it pretty entertaining, and I imagine probably because he senses some, well, agreement with what he feels in practice behind the scenes, or just playing Boston online with the fact that they might have this setting on. So, you know, obviously Bance was very clear last night as well that this should be GA'd, and obviously the implication of this tweet from Bance is that they were trying to GA it, right, gentleman's agreement it, and get it banned, and maybe some players don't want to do so. Bance then clarifies that really they're not trying to do a vote right now for this GA, because it's just impossible to enforce. So if you guys aren't familiar with this story, there's a setting in Windows where you can go in, and if you go to like advanced audio settings, you can enable loudness equalization that effectively boosts a lot of the quieter sounds in the game. Now, this helps you hear a lot of footsteps and gain like unbelievable 99 awareness, where you can just hear everything all across the map all the time. Now, the CDL decided on LAN they would disable this setting. So on the LAN PCs, on the PCs that are there on the stage, they've all disabled loudness equalization, so the pros can't use it. But online, even with the same league mandated PCs that they can control remotely, but I guess they have to like check them manually and stuff, the pros are still using it. That's the argument. And I think many pros have said that a lot of teams, SlasheR even said at least all the bottom 4 teams are using it, with others as well. I think Scrappy even said that some of his teammates on Toronto are using it. Of course, the key accusation here is that Boston are using it. And you guys well know probably if you've been around a few years that ever since Awakening came into the league on Florida back in Modern Warfare, there was like, okay, how does this guy have 99 awareness? The accusation at the time was that Awakening was using the start glitch during Modern Warfare to gain, like, I think it was on console back then, so the loudness equalization wasn't really a thing. But ever since Cold War, Havoc, I think, even said that Awakening might have been using it since then, or at least that's what people think. And it's only been discovered it's even a thing nowadays. And that's why people have been wondering how these guys had such good, awareness for years. So they want to disable it. The pros maybe can agree to it, but who's going to stop anyone turning it on online when you can't really check? So Benji and Nassim is like, well, hang on a second here. Look, why can't the league PCs be locked down and monitored so no one can change the settings? Solves this problem completely, right? Now, JP actually mentions what SlasheR said on a Flank episode the other day, that he has an idea of a random check. So what SlasheR, well, basically what the CDL would do is maybe one series a day in the CDL, they would say, hey, we're just going to check your PC here, just choose a random player out of all the matches and just check their PC, like go in like remotely, just see if they've got the setting disabled, and if they have, all good. And if they've got it on, then I don't know what would happen, but forfeiting or whatever the case could be there. Just to try and clamp down on this, right? Because as I think as SlasheR made a fair point of, if it was the thing where every day one player would get randomly PC checked, would the teams risk doing it, knowing that if you got exposed, it would be a massive scandal, really? And, you know, because it's meant to be bad. Like the CDL have literally said you're not allowed to use it on LAN. So surely they believe that for the competitive integrity of the game, it should be disabled. But nonetheless, players are still using it online. The teams are exposing teams of using it online, and yet they're not really going to do anything about it. Apparently, Huke even has a funny idea for this and says that the team should get to choose a player on the other team to do a PC check off. This would be hilarious, right? Imagine you go into a game, FaZe versus Los Angeles Thieves, and SlasheR's like, Drazah, get him checked right now. Or you're playing Boston, and you're like, okay, Awakening, get him checked, and the team gets to select a player that gets PC checked. That'd be pretty funny. But still, yeah, what do you guys think about this? Should the CDL do this? I feel like surely it's a bit of a no-brainer, to be honest, because, as I say, clearly the CDL are trying to stop this on LAN, but they're not really taking any steps to do so online, even though it's affecting everyone at the moment, and, well, everyone's trying to clamp down on it, it seems. Now, Boston, of course, have responded to this. So, Beans says, so pretty funny, actually, Ronnie, like, this is CDL Scum Intel, he posted on Reddit when this was initially discussed to say, I've said for ages they were the main team for it, this being Boston, had it on since the game dropped pretty much. So this is what Ronnie believes. Now, whether this is true or not, I don't know. Whether they've even got it on or not, I don't know. All I know is what the pros say on Twitter. And Beans actually replies and says, I'm convinced people just make stuff up to get some drama. The COD scene is one of a kind. But pretty interesting, right? Beans doesn't respond to SlasheR or to Bance or to, you know, even Dashy was in the replies there, right? And Cammy, of course, was the main one that actually called them out. He doesn't respond, or Awakening doesn't respond to them directly, but he kind of just says they're making up drama and all this type of stuff, but he doesn't even, well, directly contradict what those pros have said. So pretty interesting stuff, I thought, to be honest. And also, Awakening, this is his only comment on it from last night, the NPCs are out and about. So I guess they're denying these accusations. But of course, there's no direct evidence from those players' side that these guys are using it, and there's no evidence that Awakening or anyone has provided that they aren't using it. So the only way to do it is maybe to do these random PC checks that SlasheR has an idea of. But yeah, really spicy stuff, to be honest, to start out the day here again before the weekend begins, that, you know, SlasheR considers this to be cheating, and, well, there's some exposés going on. I'm sure this is not the last we hear of loudness equalization. Just before we close out the video, I wanted to mention this from last night. I know that many pros have been trying the last few days to get the 250-0 challenge complete, so hop in as a 4-man into ranked play and try and shut out the other team entirely. That's what Drazah, Envoy, Octane, and Optimum managed to complete last night. So 250-0, pretty disgusting stuff, and yeah, feel bad for the guys on the other side of this one. But very much interested your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
What's going on, guys? It's Drazah. Break down the clip. I just got a 2-piece. I'm currently on a 7. And, yeah, I just didn't know if he was dead or not. My teammates were calling out, you know, one might be in hill still, so I was just making sure that he wasn't contesting. Yeah, so his skull on my screen didn't show, so it looked like he was just prone there contesting. So, yeah, that's what it looked like. I thought they killed the trophy, of course. And then I see a cruise miss, so I don't know how I got that. Is that 7 in a row right there? I don't know. And then someone let him into my laundry, and then he killed me out of time. I don't know what was that.